Exactly a year ago today, Cosmic Fury, the 30th season of the Power Rangers franchise, dropped on Netflix. So I decided to task myself with the unimaginable. I ranked all 10 episodes of the show. Okay, maybe that's not completely unimaginable, but it was a very difficult thing to do because one, I love all of Cosmic Fury because it was just so good. And two, watching Cosmic Fury was like watching a whole movie. A pretty long movie at that. Every episode led into the next, there was no filler, it was all story and had a bunch of interesting character stuff, and all that made it much harder to rank each episode. But I still did, and even while writing my notes about each episode, I had to keep changing my list over and over again because I couldn't make up my mind or I would find more things that I liked in the episodes. So just because I rank some episodes lower than others doesn't mean I hate those lower episodes. It's just that I just like some episodes more than others. That's kind of the point of, ranking lists. So please keep in mind that this is my ranking and my ranking alone. So if you want to make your own ranking, please let us know in the comments. We want to see all of your lists. I'm very curious to see what you guys think. So without further ado, let's get started with number 10 on our list. Episode 8, Switching Sides. This episode marks the beginning of the end of Cosmic Fury and features the return of two villains from Dino Fury, Mucus and Slither. The fact that the Rangers were ready to blast them away as soon as they saw them was hilarious. I really didn't have any feelings towards them in Dino Fury, nor was I necessarily excited to see them come back, but they did prove to be useful at the end of the episode where they blow up the Triceratops Dino Head statue to free Ollie of his curse. Cosmic Fury in general made me like them more, and I think Cosmic Fury did that a lot for me. For other characters as well. There was also a really nice moment where Zato turns Mucus back from her human self into her original slimy self because she didn't feel comfortable in her own body. Executive producer Simon Bennett said that this line was also referring to trans people, which I think is really good. What else was really awesome is that we got to see the three girls of the team pilot the Megazord. That was a cool moment of girl power, and it's awesome to see three female Rangers highly active on one team. Something that its Japanese counterpart couldn't do despite its big cast of heroes. Number 9 on the list is episode 5, Rockout, which is a really fun episode. The Rangers have to disguise themselves as a rock band to distract monsters from the fact that Zato is awakening the Cosmic Dragon Zord. Not gonna lie, the song they performed was stuck in my head for a while. This episode is where we find that Zed has taken over Zordon's home planet of Eltar. Not only that, but he also set up his home base there. Talk about petty. We also get the debut of Jozotic, who in Sentai was Bangre. This show used a lot of different monsters from a lot of different Sentai, including the ones that were watching the rock band performance. I like how a lot of these monsters were just hired by Bajilia, and when things got ugly for them, they just run away. This makes the Power Rangers universe feel so big, which it is. There are so many different aliens and monsters living on different planets and galaxies and stuff, so why not hire a bunch of them to do your dirty work? They need jobs too. We also got Fern wanting to help out and Izzy being an overprotective girlfriend. In Dino Fury, we saw them go from rivals to partners, so seeing them now in Cosmic Fury, where they're on a distant planet and having this struggle between them, made for some good development for both of them as individuals and as a couple. A part of me wishes that we got that 20-episode season that Simon Bennett and his team planned for, where we would have gotten a temporary breakup between Izzy and Fern, but I'm also glad that they didn't break up. This storyline actually continues in number 8 on the list, which is episode 6, Takeoff, where Fern wants to help the team fix their base/ship, but Izzy won't let her. However, Fern takes matters into her own hands when Solon is captured and save her as the first ever Orange Ranger. Yeah, I know, Boom was a thing, but that was only in a dream. Although that would have been cool if they referenced that since Kendall Henderson was actually in Cosmic Fury. It is nice to finally have an official Orange Ranger after 30 years. Way long overdue. I'm happy Fern got to become a Ranger. She definitely deserved it. Going back to my point about episode 5, where I talked about the usage of different monsters, this episode marks the final time where we see Jozotic. We don't see him get destroyed or anything. The last thing we see him do is fight Scuttleworms because they destroyed his comrades. And he's not listening to Ollie's orders. It's just funny to see that the main villains of the show seem to have no control over the monsters they hire. I'm guessing Ollie just left him on planet Eridus to fight the Scuttleworms. That's just my guess.
I hate this planet.
Speaking of Ollie, I was not expecting a mentor/mentee relationship between him and Lord Zed, but I am totally here for it. That final scene where Zed talks to Ollie about survival is a standout scene for me for sure. Number 7, we got episode 6, Teamwork. In this episode, we got the debut of 2 new suits, the first being Ollie's evil Dino Fury Blue Ranger suit. It's so cool, possibly the best Ranger suit in the show. I wish we had an official designation for it, like Blue Bajilia Fury Ranger. I don't know, I'm just making stuff up.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Not now!
The confrontation between the Cosmic Fury Rangers and Ollie was great. And I like that the Cosmic Fury Rangers' first fight was against him and his forces. Ollie's reaction to Amelia being the Red Ranger was hilarious, and so are the monsters during the fight. I don't think Cosmic Fury in general had the best fight choreography ever, but this fight had its moments. After getting lost in episode 1, Zato is finally found in this episode, and we see him morph into the Zenith Ranger for the first time. I really like the name Zenith Ranger, and I actually really like this suit. I think it's one of the better looking Cosmic Fury suits. The cape does a lot for it, and I dig the color. I'm all for new colored Rangers, especially since this is an original color for Power Rangers not seen in Sentai. And I think that fact isn't really talked about a lot, or even at all in the fandom, which is quite a shame. But yeah, that T-Rex helmet in that color is freaking gorgeous. Number 6, we got episode 7, Operation Seasoning, which is a very interesting title, but it makes sense with the episode, of course.
Love the name.
Originally, this episode was in my top 5, but I just had to do a lot of rearranging. But yeah, I really like this episode. Heckle from Dino Charge finally becomes the Dino Charge Dark Ranger. Remember back in the day when we thought that the Dark Ranger was going to be called the Talon Ranger? Oh man. Those are some times. This was so long overdue. It was a shame we never got to see this beautiful suit lined up with the other Dino Charge Rangers, but I'm very happy that we at least got to see the suit before the end of the series, even though the helmet is technically from another Ranger, but hey, it's what we got, and it's canon now, so it's okay. I thought the Rangers' plan to infiltrate Zed's barrier was interesting, even though it ultimately failed, but it brought 5 of the Cosmic Fury Rangers, Billy, and Heckle to fight together, which was definitely a highlight for me. A couple of things a part of me wishes we could have seen are the inside of Zed's prisons on Earth, maybe scenes with the Cosmic Fury Rangers talking or trying to escape, and Rangers from other teams fighting Zed's forces, even if it's just the suits fighting. But I had a strong feeling that wasn't going to happen since Cosmic Fury is going to focus on, well, the Cosmic Fury team, and the fact that we did get 2 legendary Rangers already, and of course Mick. We also got the reveal that Zato will be returning to the grid once he uses all of his magic that the Morphin Masters used to revive him, with Ion and Solon having to hear the shocking news and being asked to keep it a secret from the other Rangers. I feel that this episode marked the beginning of the end of Zato's life as a mortal being. And man, Ion and Solon had it rough when they were told the news and had to keep quiet about it. We're halfway there with number 5, and we got episode 3, Off Grid. Here we see Javi struggling with his new metal arm and Billy helping him get through those struggles. And I honestly really love the dynamic between these two, this mentor/mentee relationship that they got going on. It's something that I wouldn't have expected, and I thought their relationship was a good parallel to the relationship between Zed and Ollie. And of course, this is the episode where the Rangers finally get their Cosmic Fury powers. This might be the latest the Ranger team has gotten their new powers in their season. Usually it'll be in episode 1 or 2, but not this time. We got it in episode 3. I guess we do see the Cosmic Fury Zords in episode 1 though, so there's that. This whole scene was really cool though, and it's nice that we finally got a full season female Red Ranger. I loved Amelia's reaction when she realized that she's the Red Ranger, and how she said it was Zato's color and not hers, and how her teammates were supportive of her donning the color. What a historic moment in the Power Rangers franchise. Oh, and by the way, I love this scene.
I feel so old.
Number 4 is actually episode 2, Beyond Repair. This episode ranked high on the list because I thought it was really interesting to see Javi's struggles with his missing limb and getting a new, really cool metal arm. We also got the chance to see Javi morph into his Dino Fury black suit with the metal arm, and that looks really, really good. The episode and Cosmic Fury in general made me appreciate the character of Javi more, and he became one of my favorites on the show. The later half of the end of the episode was super intense, with the Rangers trying to get Ollie back on their side and failing. Lord Zed sending a squid drill to drill through the ground and into the Rangers' base, and the Rangers having to mass teleport themselves and their base to another planet. Oh my goodness, that whole sequence was amazing, and I really love the tense feeling. That sense of urgency in that scene specifically was wild. And to end it off, we see Fern, who the Rangers realized was still in the base. Imagine that. Being in a bathroom, like you go to like a store or something, go to the bathroom, and then you experience this earthquake type of emergency. You come out of the bathroom and you're on another planet with the Power Rangers. That's crazy. That would be crazy. Number 3 is the penultimate episode of Cosmic Fury, episode 9, Master Plan. This was high on my list because of how high the stakes were in this episode. At this point, the Rangers have already gone through a lot, but in this episode, they go through even more losses. Here we get Ollie turning on Zed right before the Rangers' eyes, which I thought was a cool way to reveal that Ollie was good again. Ollie really stuck his neck out with that one. That boy could have died there. But he didn't, and he finally became the Cosmic Fury Blue Ranger in the second to the last episode of the show for that. I didn't think they would go that long with Ollie being evil and wait this long for him to finally get his new powers, but I thought it was well done. And he's technically the last person in the Power Rangers series to gain Ranger powers. And on top of that, it was Zato's Cosmic Orb and Morpher that he used to morph. And speaking of, man, do we gotta talk about that scene. The scene of the episode where Zato saves his team and returns to the Morphin grid. But not only him, Ion, or his spirit, follows him into the Morphin grid because he refuses to let go of his friend. And that was honestly really moving, sad, it was a lot of things. This is also where we find out about Bajilia's plan to unleash a second Z-Wave, but this time a wave of evil. I love this callback to Countdown to Destruction. The villains were even literally counting down to destruction at the end of the episode. Apparently it made some fans roll their eyes, but not me. I didn't think it was too corny or fan pandering at all. I thought it was a legitimately good idea and was executed well. The use of the Master Captivator as a tube, similar to Zordon's, was something I did not expect and really, really loved. Oh yeah, and I love Master Zed's suit. Oh my goodness, it's an absolute piece of art. Someone really needs to cosplay that at the next PMC. Number 2 is actually the premiere episode of the season, Lightning Strikes. I gotta say, I like this episode title because not only is it a reference to the lightning that strikes Javi, causing his arm to get blown off, but I also see it as a reference to the lightning bolt present in the Power Rangers logo. I don't know, that's something that I came up with. I don't know if that's actually confirmed or not, but I'd like to think that that's what the reference to. Since I mentioned it already, I still cannot believe that Power Rangers had a Ranger's arm get cut off. What the heck? I know we had seen the Black Ranger suit before, and people had speculations about why Javi had a metal arm, but man, I didn't think they'd go that route. I know fans had a problem with how the other Rangers reacted when it happened, saying it wasn't believable and that they should have been freaking out more, and trust me, I would have preferred that too. I mean, if I had my arm chopped off, yeah, obviously that would be very traumatizing for me and anyone around me. But Simon Bennett did express the reason why they had to portray it the way they did. And honestly, yeah, that's fine. it doesn't really take anything away from the episode for me, in my opinion. Going back to the beginning of the episode, this hits the ground running with an epic and very stunning looking battle on Zordnia, which is kind of a deep cut in Power Rangers lore, as that is the planet where the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers obtained their Shogun Zords back in the day. This episode pretty much sets up everything, with the return of Billy, Mick, Zed, Scrozzle, the introduction of new villains, Ollie turning evil again, and Zato getting lost. Speaking of Ollie turning evil, I do like how they made him evil again. When we heard rumors about him being evil again, I was skeptical, because it's like, really? We're doing this again? Like, why? But I do like how they explain the usage of the poison and how it only works on the Dino Fury Blue Ranger. So yeah, I'm here for it. And we also see the Cosmic Fury Zords for the first time. I love the idea that not one Ranger is necessarily assigned to a Zord, maybe minus Red, but instead they have a fleet of Zords to choose from. I'd like to see something like that happen in Sentai, to be honest. Overall, this was a super strong premiere to Cosmic Fury. And finally, we are here with number 1, the final episode of Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, and the final episode of the series, episode 10, The End. Honestly, any of these top 4 episodes on my list could have easily been number 1, but I decided to go with The End because of how hyped this finale was. I think I'm the only person to say that I think this was a great way to end off a 30-year long run. I know a lot of people were hoping for a big final battle between the Rangers and Master Zed, but I thought their last confrontation was an interesting way to handle things, and it reminded me of the finale of the Shattered Grid arc in the comic series, where the Rangers tried talking to Draken to seize his evil ways. Another thing I thought that was really interesting was the Rangers' plan to send the Master Captivator into the Morphin Grid, possibly causing the destruction of every Ranger's powers. That would have been crazy if that plan had gone through. But a big part of me is glad that it didn't, because that means more Power Rangers. Right, Hasbro? Right, Hasbro? Right? I do have to say, though, the Rangers were prepared to put the Master Captivator in the Morphin Grid, saying that no one was living in the Morphin Grid because the Morphin Masters were, not there. But did they forget that Zato was there? Like, he just returned to the Morphin Grid. So, they just totally forgot that he was there. They were just gonna release Zed's evil energy wave, and what would have happened to Zato? They just forgot. That part was weird. So I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know that one, but whatever. The most shocking thing to me about this episode was actually when the veteran Megazords helped the Rangers out in space. That was so sick, and the fact that they added my boy, the Galaxy Megazord, makes it even better. Woo! Man, that was so good. I can't talk about this episode without talking about Zordon. Ever since Zordon died back in Power Rangers in Space, a big question amongst Power Rangers fans has been, should Zordon come back? And I want to say that that's been a divisive question, but from what I've seen, a lot of people were against that idea of bringing him back because of his sacrifice, and it would have been meaningless if they had done that. But how they brought back Zordon in Cosmic Fury was absolutely genius. They brought him back, but only kind of. It was through another character whose actor did an awesome job portraying Zordon. I could actually hear Zordon's voice say those exact same lines in the way that Russell Curry said them. I thought it was very interesting that it wasn't actually Zato who Zordon was speaking through, but an image that Ion created subconsciously. That whole scene opened up so many possibilities as to what the Morphin Grid actually is. Rangers and allies who have died in the series are probably there with Zordon. Does that mean Kendrix from Lost Galaxy was in the Morphin Grid when she died? If so, does she remember any of it? Maybe she doesn't. Kind of like how it seemed like Zordon couldn't remember certain details from his life, such as who Lord Zed was. But Ion remembers everything, so maybe it wasn't fully the Morphin Grid where he was. Maybe he was in limbo since he really wasn't dead. Maybe Zordon is able to travel within the Morphin Grid and in that limbo state because he's a really powerful being whose wave turned evil into good. Who knows? But as soon as he said, "May the power protect you," my jaw dropped. There's a lot of things to talk about with the Morphin Grid and Zordon and things like that. There's definitely videos that I want to do to dive deeper into some of these questions, so stay tuned. Speaking of May the Power Protect You, I need Hasbro to release Javi's song from the final scene of the episode. It's really catchy, and after watching Cosmic Fury, I found myself humming it quite often.
Wherever you are, no matter how far, may the power protect you.
I think I've watched this thing like 1,000 times at this point. It's just so good. And I really like that this scene keeps things open-ended with Billy finding out about Zordon, solidifying that even though Power Rangers the TV series has ended as we know it, events in the Power Rangers universe will continue off camera. And even though it left things open-ended, it was also, at the same time, a really bittersweet ending to the show and the in-show universe as a whole. I love that the last line of the show was Zeto's cheesy catchphrase.
Cool, coolio.
And I love the very, very final song right after that synthy track that they use. Oh man, that really hits home. And that's it. That is my ranking of all 10 episodes of Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. It was not easy, and this took me a long time to prepare. So thank you all so much, everyone, for watching. Again, let me know in the comments what your ranking is. I am very curious. I'd like to know what you think. But thank you all once again. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Follow us on our social media dashboards below. We also have a Discord, so make sure to flex your toys, collectibles, and let's talk about Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, and we will see you all next time.